The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Well, good morning and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, and wild world.
Yeah, they recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. I'm Nico Haan.
It's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, 52 degrees, quite warmer than where I've been for the last week or so.
Yeah, you were up in the Sierra Nevadas, right?
I sure was. Lake Tahoe, North Lake Tahoe, and visiting my son, and had a ski trip. And
a lot of snow out there.
Oh, we got there just in time for a winter storm, which I haven't seen in years.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of nervous, you know, on the roads for me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
But had some great skiing and some good family time. So if you have any questions and would like to join us on the show today, give us a call at 877-927-6648. Make sure and pick up our Health Signals newsletter. We got a hot new one out there, and Nico and I continue the conversation on deuterium-depleted water, why that's the form of water that our bodies operate best on.
That's right. It's only $10 a month, folks. $5 an issue. You get it on the first and third Tuesday of every month.
That's right. And make sure to pick up some of our Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. People rave about this product, how great they feel on it. It's really a one-shot wonder in terms of all the micronutrients, macronutrients that you need in a nutritional product. So
Yeah,
you
and
can get the
especially
good stuff in.
And the bad stuff out, and
That's
especially
right.
during the flu season and the harsh winters we've had. It's spring, but snow's still on the ground in a lot of places. So pick up some Primal Edge, folks. It's only $89 a month to your door every single month.
And if you have any ideas or comments about the show, you can reach me at Paige at TFNN.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com.
Okay, well, you know, we often wonder, what is the ideal diet?
That's what we're trying to figure out, isn't it?
And I really think I've come up with an idea.
Oh, really?
And I really think the ideal diet is the diet that nature delivers to us.
That makes sense to me.
And if we can start to pay attention to the chronobiology of our bodies, you know, the time stamp of our bodies, the circadian rhythm of our bodies, and the circadian change of nature. Nature is going to put in front of us the types of foods that we should be eating and at the right time.
Yeah.
Because it really is a phenomenal dance between nature, time, light, and temperature. And this goes along with everything I've been learning from Jack Kruse, but I must put a plug in. And you might want to add this into your Amazon list. On my trip, I took 2 books by T.S. Wiley. Do you know who T.S. Wiley is?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Well, T.S. Wiley became famous in my circle of exposure there about 10 years ago through Suzanne Summers, because she wrote a very controversial book about hormone rejuvenation. Her background is anthropology and biology, and she calls herself a endocrine biologist or something, a biological endocrinologist. Truly, that was some of the controversy, because perhaps the formal training at upper-level degree was not there, and but I'm going to tell you something, her books are fabulous reads.
I've read several of Suzanne's books.
Well, okay, not Suzanne's books, T.S. Wiley.
Okay.
And T.S. Wiley kind of had a philosophy based on how our hormone balance is tied to our trips around the sun.
Oh, okay.
And this is for both males and females, and that perhaps we would stay disease-free, for example, with women if we continued to cycle into our 90s, you know, having a menstruation. And this is very foreign to a lot of people, and people, you know, it's kind of like the world is flat or round, you know, that type of, it received that kind of stress.
So do you think that women ovulated all through their lives in ancient times? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that it's quite possible that they did, in that it was almost necessary for the species to survive.
Very interesting.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And probably, yes, lifespan was shorter due to infectious disease, correct?
And
Yep.
violence. Perhaps.
And violence,
Yeah.
correct. Oh, you will love her books. If
Yeah,
you read her,
gonna-
I'm going to tell you, because she really, I mean, the book's about this thick, but over half of it are the sites.
Wow.
So heavily researched. So one is called Sex, Lies, and Menopause. I don't care if you're a male or a female, guys, this book is really cool. And it really talks a lot about how we're designed to survive. I mean, I remember last night I was reading in that book, she was talking about why do men have heart attacks? Well, they start to get the cortisol belly and the insulin belly. Well, it's time to disappear because you're eating too much of the food for the
Yeah.
reproducing females and males.
Yeah.
See?
Well,
what
out,
happens?
out in the wild, you have just enough time during the day to get some food, fix up your shelter so you can sleep, and
Maybe
make
have
sure,
sex.
Well, yeah, that's for sure too. And then you start over again. So, you know, I think the earth and the way things are set up in nature, you're right. Everything is kind of set up for us to succeed if we do it kind of the old-fashioned way. Now, I love modern things, don't get me wrong.
Right,
But I
exactly.
think if we go back into the food production locally in our area, have wild animals for us to eat. and
Follow a
things.
time that works with nature.
Yeah.
The lights, and that's
Well,
her,
that makes a lot of sense
That's
to
her
me.
other book. It's called Lights Out.
Okay.
And I think Lights Out was actually written maybe the year before she did the Sex, Lies, and Menopause book. But I ordered both of them. I find them extremely interesting to read, and I really like to share that with our listeners because I think she was perhaps ahead of her time, because now I've got all these mitochondriacs, you know, the Jack Kruse group, the people were looking at how do we improve mitochondrial health, and I think she was really hitting on it way beforehand. But anyways, so I digress a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what is the ideal diet. This article comes to us from one of our favorite bloggers, Grassland Beefs, and it was written by Dr. Mercola. And Dr. Mercola has been always on the forefront of what's healthiest for us. And, you know, it stands to reason that if different foods offer unique nutrients that help to heal your body and maintain health, it might be a good idea to change up your meals to include as many beneficial vitamins and minerals as possible if you're not doing so already. I think that's a real plug for seasonal eating. I think that changing up, switching things up, meaning that nature is going to provide different foods at different times of the year.
Well, I think this clicks with most people in a superficial way, because we think about apples in the fall, we think about nuts coming in the fall, and we think about different vegetables growing at different times of the year, but we really don't equate it to things like bread, cookies. I mean, what's the season for a cookie?
There's no season for a cookie.
Exactly. There's no season for bread either.
Right.
Because these things come only in a 2 to 4 week period at certain times of the year, usually in the fall.
And actually even in the summer are the higher glycemic foods, because the summer is the time we're supposed to hold more water, and we're going to be we're going to have higher insulin and higher glucose levels, because we are actually starting to store fat for this
Right.
coming fall and winter and
Sure.
cooler weather.
And that makes a lot of
So
sense.
we're going to tie some of this in and a little spice it up and a little splice it in with some of this information about circadian balance. So stick with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stick around, folks. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back. And we're talking about this Harvard Ultimate Meal Plan. And of course, what we're trying to do is get as much variety as possible in our foods. Determining which foods provide the most important nutritions is a good strategy to optimize your health. The reality, however, is kind of, I mean, I know that when we plan out our food, it's pretty much for the week.
You have a schedule.
We kind of have a schedule, and pork chops are on Mondays, and then, you know, we eat something different each week, but it's kind of the regular thing because that's what's available here. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a lot of variety from the aspects of what our ancestors had. Mm. Our ancestors had much more variety.
Well, they were exactly. They were eating from nature's table, what nature was providing, but they may not have found a lot of it.
Yeah.
They'd get something.
Well, I think before the ice ages, there was a lot of large animals around, and we know that about 10,000 BC or 10,500 BC, there was a big calamity with a comet or something happened, and a lot of large fauna, except in Africa, everywhere else, pretty much the large animals left. And this caused a problem for modern man because he was used to getting those large fatty animals, and now they had to hunt the smaller animals. And then when the smaller animals are gone, then we start substituting other things, and that's when the grains.
When the starvation grains came in, right? Exactly. I gotcha. Well, really, the key is that we want to make sure we get a diverse selection of nutrients that we need to stay healthy, knowing that some of the nutrients deplete easily, you know, daily. They're water soluble.
Right.
And then you've got your fat soluble ones that your body really thinks they're so important, they store them in the fat.
Yeah.
And we want to do this. But so Dr. McCullough says here is a one-day meal plan for optional nutrition. What is there? Many people wonder if it's possible to get all the nutrients they need from food alone, and the answer is generally yes, provided you focus on high-quality foods. That exception being vitamin D, the best source of vitamin D, which would be the sun exposure. And this is according to Harvard's Women's Health Watch. They agree that the best way to get the nutrients we need is through food. A balanced diet offers all the vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients yet to be defined that collectively meet the body's needs. You know, we've been saying for years here on this show, though, generally speaking, in the perfect world that would be the case, but again, we do seriously have issues with soil depletion,
Right.
And many of the foods that we're getting today are not grown in such a way that they can maximize the nutrients.
And it's also interesting to note that the soil depletion is there because we're growing agricultural foods. In the wild, nature has a nice way of replenishing the soil, allowing grasslands to grow to hold the soil together when there is no trees or brushes, and then slowly but surely the brush comes in and then the trees come in, and that's the way the nature works. When we plow a field, we're really destroying that whole field. Not only are we destroying the plants there, but we're also pretty much impacting the wildlife of that, just because you don't see the wildlife.
Yeah, the whole monocrop agricultural method the world has gone to has been a disaster.
It really has, and this is the same system that's supposed to save our lives. This is the agricultural system that they say when food shortages come, we'll have enough of this because we have it in surplus. And if you're looking at the grand solar minimum and talking to Dave Devine,
by the way, he texted me this morning. He's got something. We're going to try and get him on the show next week. I mean,
good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so what he's saying is now our growing areas have to move because the weather is changing, and of course,
boy, has it been changing.
It's been changing, and this may be just a one-year thing, which everybody's hoping. But when you look back
in history,
we're looking at 120, 230, 400 years ago. These types of things happened, and are we going back into that? And that's the question we have.
And how will we handle that food shortage?
That's exactly right.
Well, let's get back to this, though. The Harvard expert, based on this study, Dr. Helen Delachios, a nutrition educator at Harvard Medical School, she suggests a variety of foods to include in a one-day meal plan that would all totaled provide the general nutritional requirements for a 51 to 70-year-old woman, which Dr. McCullough adjusts it slightly. So let's just see what that looks like, and let's see how close we are. Go ahead. What's
breakfast consists of 8 ounces of raw grass-fed yogurt and a handful of walnuts, 14 halves, and a cup of papaya and kiwi, along with 4 ounces of raw grass-fed milk.
Okay, so there you go. There's a lot of nutrition there. Look, they're using dairy as a delivery. Did you notice that the dairy was both raw, grass-fed, and also fermented? Key there.
Yep.
Lunch could be a colorful garden salad containing 1 cup of dark green lettuce, maybe a red pepper. We know from from my Qigong guy, Jeff Primack, that the red pepper is the most powerful pigmented food on the planet. And 1 cup of grape tomatoes and sunflower seeds with olive oil and balsamic vinegar as your dressing with some black pepper on it.
Yeah, and then dinner would go 4 ounces of wild-caught Alaskan salmon topped with raw grass-fed yogurt, lemon, garlic sauce, and a cup of steamed baby bok chow.
Well, there you go. So this might not be enough nutritional food for some people, but the quantities would vary depending on your size, age, and health status. With this in mind, what would you need to eat to get the right amount of vitamins, minerals, and more obscure compounds to feel and function your best and improve your mitochondrial function? Because that's what we talk about, and so does Dr. McCullough. And I don't know, maybe Dr. McCullough has some take on what these Harvard
Well, it's interesting because I have a similar take. He says that 3 meals a day is not the optimal meal plan. He says he personally only eats 2, which I do mostly, and many people only eat 1 meal. And it's pretty clear from the hundreds and if not thousands of papers I have reviewed, he says the time-restricted eating or intermittent fast is the best strategy for health.
That's right. Decreasing the window that you consume food and increasing the window where you are not eating food. You are utilizing it and processing it.
Of course, the mindset in Western society is the more affluent you are, the more meals you eat, in a sense.
Well, why do you think they called it the king's illness?
Okay.
The consumption.
Consumption
right?
food, yeah.
No, remember?
The consumption was that.
The idea, there was a sickness, they used to say, oh, she's suffering from consumption. It was too much. The king's disease, too much richness, too frequent, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So
and with the kings, remember, the kings and queens were the obese people in the old days.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have the poor people that are.
Well, how about that? Even the artists in the Renaissance kind of showed the excessiveness. The women were Rubenesque women, remember? Kind of.
Oh, yeah.
But also, it symbolized fertility, that there was some body fat, which, of course, we know we need some. Just to give you an idea, Dr. McCullough's ideal, what he basically does, he eats within a 4-hour window. So he might fast till noon and eat his last meal at 4 p.m.
Right.
and then he's done for the day.
Right.
So probably he eats 1 to 2 meals, and then he will fast 5 days a month, somewhere down there.
About once a week.
So Dr. Mercola has a new ketogenic cookbook out that's getting a lot of rave reviews. It's a superior option for your daily meals because it gives you an idea of how to eat, because more than half of all Americans struggle with chronic illness, and 1 in 5 deaths in the U.S. are obesity related, and this is a direct result from eating far too much sugar and grains, too much protein. He's become quite interested in the idea that we need to have adequate protein.
Yeah.
Not
and it's a natural process, folks. I've noticed that in the last couple of years, my wife and I, when we have that pork chop in front of us, we eat about half of it, just automatically. You know, we've had enough with the portions away, and then we use it another day.
Everyone could say, I can tell you how you can cut your food bill in half. When you go to a restaurant, if you order a steak, you share it.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, you don't order, you share an entree.
Yeah.
Share an entree and each get a salad, because really the portions are designed for the obese,
That's
not
for sure.
the healthy.
Stick around, folks. Number here is 877-927-6648. We will be right back and pick up some Primal Edge, please.
There you go.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. So we were just discussing an article written by Dr. Joseph Mercola, and he's got a new book out, Fat for Fuel. It's really a good book. And he explains that for your mitochondrial health and a way to have long-term health, longevity, weight management, you want to pursue a diet that allows you to eat in such a way that your body is able to burn fat as its primary fuel rather than sugars, and that is the ketogenic diet. And I wanted to make the comment. I referenced the works of T.S. Wiley in Sex, Lies, and Menopause, her book, and also in Lights Out. And it really is, she explains that from a circadian rhythm standpoint, we were designed to eat fat and no carbs in the winter because they weren't available. There was snow on the ground.
Right.
It was cold. Nothing was growing. It's we were designed, and that's about 8 months of the year we're supposed to be fat burning, okay? Burning fat for fuel. The difference is pregnancy or reproduction is a time of higher estrogens, higher insulin. And those would also be the summers. And what's available in the summers? The fruits, the carbohydrate foods. So let's take a clue from nature and eat in a cycle like that. So if you can almost look forward to enjoying some of the beautiful fruits and so forth. You know, we think of citrus as being available in the winter, but maybe it really wasn't, you know?
Well, remember,
because it's not a native fruit. Yeah,
it's not native here. No, it's a Chinese,
right.
It's a Far Eastern
But I mean,
food.
I wonder where
Most
it's native, when is it available? I wonder what the season is.
Well, remember that the Chinese don't eat the citrus. They use it as garnishments, and they use the peels as spritzes and stuff like that.
Well, and the peel is the phytochemicals that are deliminating.
Yeah, well, they consider it just a over-the-top type of fruit. Too much. So real small slices used as garnishment. And I do believe that most vegetables, spices, and all those things started off as just garnishment, and later on we needed more and more of them. But there's nothing like going through an orchard or something and picking up some fruit and berries, and especially berries. You know, in Canada, up in Sudbury, we were always picking berries in the fall, and you know, some of them were really huge, nice blueberries. But you know, eating wise is a great thing. But Dr. McCullough says that eating well isn't the only thing to pay attention to as you make progress in taking control of your health. Other aspects of your life are just as important, especially as there are so many unhealthy aspects that make illness and disease more prevalent, such as things like free radicals,
from air pollution.
Yeah, and chemicals in your household cleaners, your lawn fertilizers, pet products, and beauty products. And there's a lot of other things we discussed, like the different type of lights, living close to transformers. All these things are unhealthy. So the modern lifestyle is really different, and now we have to probably think a little bit different than our ancestors did.
We have to really work on our environment, and that's really what our show is all about. Living a primal lifestyle is about doing the first things first, and that's making our environment an excellent environment. I like this about protecting your ability to get 8 hours of sleep. This sleep has become something where we almost feel guilty for getting it, as if we're being lazy or something.
Well, because we have the job and we have the education. You know,
we're supposed to sleep a lot, by the way, according to T.S. Wiley.
Especially in the winter.
In the winter, we're supposed to be hibernating basically from the time the sun goes down.
Yeah,
we should be going to sleep.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were always supposed to do that, because we know that maybe Saturn was our sun, you know, thousands of years ago. But let's not go there now.
What we could say is that it's really a time for rest, rejuvenation. The dark is a signal. Yeah. And yet, how many people are working and living around the clock with artificial lights? And
especially somebody who's doing a midnight shift. I mean, that's you know, has all kinds of ramifications in your life as far as health is concerned, and maybe your brain too.
Well, can we go while we're at it, because we got so many interesting things. Can I switch over to another article I wanted to share with you guys? You know, we just mentioned that improving the environment so you can get a good night's sleep, because this is when we do. It is not just for rest. It is for rejuvenation. That is the time the body is actually doing the healing. And I want you to go to this article. It's called Introducing the Lumina Nocturna, and this is from the blog at La Casa Spa and Wellness. And Jane Goldberg is a fascinating woman. She's an author, writer. She has a health center in New York City, and I have met her at a number of health seminars, and I find her just interesting, so I follow her blog. Look at her office. That's like my dream. I love the look of that. And but her newsletter is very informative. I think you're even subscribing to her now too. But she's introduces, because she goes to conferences, she introduces new therapies, and she's talking about this new therapy offered at her office. But I wanted to share it with you all because it's a therapy very much in line with what Nico and I have been sharing is the coming healing modalities, using light as information for healing. So La Casa's newest extraordinary therapy is a biophotonic instrument called the Lumina Nocturna. It is both an ATP inductor and neuroendocrine balancer. I mean, I'm going to check into this. I might have this at my office. It's handcrafted by a developer called named Sky David, who has spent over 20 years developing this unique device. The Lumina Nocturna enhances the ability of mitochondria to produce ATP, and it introduces the highest level of endocrine gland function, as well as promoting tissue regeneration at and below the cellular level.
Yeah, the biophotonic properties of the device mimic the pineal gland. That's at the back of the hypothalamus, right?
Hypothalamus. So pineal is the seat of the soul, where we believe we have a lot of our spiritual connection.
Right, exactly. So it heightens the production of the senior neurotransmitter,
dimethyltryptamine, DMT, which is believed to be the spiritual or the psychedelic. DMT is actually naturally induces deep regenerative sleep, and then in turn recharges our adrenal glands.
Interesting.
So the cool thing about this device, Nico, is that it has a biosensor, all right? Living sensor. Through a dynamic changing concert of complex harmonics, overtones, and undertones. Does this sound like my kind of toy?
Yeah, it sure does.
It senses the state of your living tissue, and it sends that biological information back to the master control, which is our hypothalamus. The hypothalamus in our body is kind of like the traffic cop.
So the output is then modified to conform to a specific tissue state at the point of, and in that point in time. Therefore, all treatments accommodate the infinite variability of the living tissue as it changes.
As that is what Jane says, there are no fixed frequencies that are universally effective for response in living tissue. It might be a different harmonic that the body needs. So really what this device does, I don't know if you can scroll down, Nico, on there. It shows a person getting the treatment. The visible and non-visible light waves reflect the entire electromagnetic spectrum, including the small slice of visible light to the human eye and beyond in both short and long wave energy.
This sounds very similar. I was listening to Ben Greenfield the other day, and he was talking about he has this little red light that he uses on his balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he just puts it under there, and he sits under there for 10 minutes, and he says it's for rejuvenating, for reproduction.
Well, red light is the rejuvenator. Rejuvenator is another product. The woman I met, her at Bulletproof. But placement of this on the sternum affects the best neurological enhancement, and the effect is systemic and cascades through the tissues. So
you have it right there, sitting right there at the center of your body.
At the sternum, and it says that it gets you relaxed, and then it helps you to release DMT. I mean, there are people who've been doing studies over that.
All kinds of drugs to try to get the DMT in there.
I mean, photodynamic therapies have been in extensive stages of research in Germany and the world, Russia, using light as healing. So guys, it's coming. Start looking at ways to regenerate yourself that go beyond food.
We'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back to the show. Of course, we were talking about that article with the light that you put on, and that affects the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is a small gland in the brain, and it's sometimes called the third eye.
Or the seat of the soul.
The seat of the soul. I like that. Centrally located organ with cellular features resembling the human retina. So it's actually, that's why it's called the third eye.
The third eye.
Because it absorbs light and absorbs all kinds of things from our environment. The role is to get these things in sync with each other. So does it control the hormones that way, in a sense, the pineal gland?
Well, it controls certain hormones that it secretes, such as the DMT, which we just talked about. Right. The biophotonic device is going to help us to get back to secreting. In that article somewhere, I didn't catch it when I was doing it, but what Jane Goldberg was explaining is that DMT is that substance that makes kids dreamlike. You know how kids are living their own world? They're secreting it already. Their pineal gland has not been calcified. The pineal gland has been known, as we said, as the seat of the soul. But could fluoride, a ubiquitous vector of toxicity in the modern world, actually be calcifying the gland and literally turning it to stone? I say yes. I suggest that perhaps that is part of the reason it's in the water supply. I mean, let's just face it. There's really no other reason to be wanting to calcify a gland that is responsible for utilizing light and secreting hormones that contribute to good health and fortune. And so research published in 2001 showed that fluoride deposits in the pineal gland with age and is associated with enhanced gland calcification. 11 aged cadavers were dissected and their pineal glands were studied, and guess what they found?
They found calcium stones in the brain?
They sure did. And by old age, the pineal gland has readily accumulated fluoride, and the fluoride-calcium ratio is higher than it is in bone.
It's interesting because the pineal gland calcification is associated with a number of diseases in modern times. Alzheimer's disease, bipolar disease, deregulation of the circadian rhythms, hormone imbalances, low melatonin, insomnia, lower back pain, Parkinson's disease, schizophrenia, sleep disorders, and stroke.
Right, and the pineal gland is best known for its role in producing the hormone melatonin from serotonin, triggered by the absence of light. Serotonin is actually triggered by the absence of light, and it affects your wake-sleep patterns and seasonal and circadian rhythms. So you can see why I feel this is important information for Nico and I share with you. Pineal gland is a little tiny pea-sized pine cone shaped. And it's located near the center of the brain. You ever wonder why on the staff of the Pope there's a pine cone?
That's the pineal gland.
Do you think there's like little symbolism that they're like, hey, it's for us to know and you guys to find out? But it actually lies between the two hemispheres of the brain, and it is a unique brain structure insofar as it is not protected by the blood-brain barrier. So see, the fluoride does get into the system.
Yeah.
This may also explain why it is uniquely sensitive to calcification via fluoride exposure. And so what I want you to understand is it does actually have photoreceptors. And that's why devices, like what we were just discussing, the whatever it was called, the Nocturna, that Jane was showing us, that new device, that light will stimulate the activity of this gland. And, I mean, the pineal gland has been a subject of ancient folklore for many, many years. And Galen described it in the 3rd century, and the philosopher René Descartes identified the pineal gland as the seat of the soul. And I think it's kind of interesting, you know, how he came up with that. You want to hear?
Yeah, I do.
So René Descartes said, "My view is that this gland is the principal seat of the soul, and the place in which all of our thoughts are formed. The reason I believe this is that I cannot find any part of the brain except this, which is not double. Since we see only one thing with 2 eyes and hear only one voice with 2 ears, and in short have never more than one thought at a time, it must necessarily be the case that the impressions which enter by the 2 eyes or by the 2 ears and so on unite with each other in some part of the body before being considered by the soul. Now it is impossible to find any such place in the whole head except this gland. Moreover, it is situated in the most suitable position, placed for this purpose in the middle of all the concavities, and it is supported and surrounded by the little branches of the carotid arteries which bring the spirits, the blood, the spirits into the brain."
Yeah, and the third eye is also a well-known symbol in Eastern literature. You know, you see the writing in ancient writings all over the place.
I think
so it's the fluoride really that makes our pineal gland more into a
stone.
Yeah, kind of like a stone. Doesn't absorb anything anymore, so it needs to be able to absorb the light.
So what is the subjective effect of this pineal gland becoming calcified and not working, not able to work because of these? And here's an example. Prozac, the drug, may represent an archetypal example of how fluoride affects the personality or the soul.
Okay.
This drug, which its chemical name is fluoxetine.
It's about 30% fluoride.
It's 30% fluoride by weight and marketed as an antidepressant, even while a major side effect of its use and or withdrawal is suicidal depression. And modern psychiatry often treats depressive disorders, the dark night of the soul, as an organic disorder of the brain, targeting serotonin reuptake by any chemical means necessary. Fluoride and fluoxetine, in fact, may accomplish their intended therapeutic effects by poisoning the pineal gland. Animal studies confirm that when mice have their pineal glands removed, they no longer respond to fluoxetine.
Yeah, perhaps the primary reason why Prozac causes favorable reaction in those who are treated or poisoned with it is that it deassociates that person from the psycho-spiritual conflicts that they must normally suppress in order to maintain the appearance of sanity and functionality in our society.
It's a control and not health that is the goal of such a treatment. It's a very sad thing. Yeah. If Prozac and other sources of fluoride in our environment deposit within the pineal gland, accelerating the transformation of functional pineal tissue into calcification, is it possible that it works by dehumanizing and flattening the effect of those who are under its influence?
So how do we prevent a pineal gland calcification?
I personally think this is one of the most important health things you can ever do, because if it is truly the seat of the soul, don't you want that seat of the soul to be functioning at its best?
At the highest rate.
So eliminating exposure to fluoride is the #1 priority. We can start by being careful about serendipitous forms of fluoride, such as found in Teflon-coated pans, foods and beverages produced with municipal water,
Tap water. Think about baby formula. Think
Crazy.
about different drugs like Prozac. A lot of times you have it in your toothpaste. We have collected a number of studies from the U.S. National Library of Medicine on natural substances which mitigate fluoride toxicity.
And this is articles from SAYERG at Green Med Info. So if you want to know how you can be most successful in detoxifying fluoride, please consult Green Med Info, because they do. And there are a lot of herbs that help us to break down those calcifications.
Yeah, and they've indexed over 60 diseases linked to this toxification.
Yeah, of fluoride. Yeah. I hope you'll take a visit to Green Med Info and learn more about how you can protect yourself through natural medicine. Stick with us. We have more good stuff coming.
Be right back.
You don't buy into that nonsense, do you? You know you can't time the markets. I didn't. And in 2006, I set out on a mission to do just that. I began by surrounding myself with the greats like Tom O'Brien, Larry Pesavento, David White, and Basil Chapman. I read countless books and even looked to the moon and planets for answers. Now, we both know that trading is 80% mental. So I learned the exact tools that Tony Robbins uses to overcome fear. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability. And last March, the folks at Timers Digest began tracking my newsletter signals, which through January 18, 2018, placed me as the #1 gold timer for that exact time frame. Now, I can't officially be recognized until Timers Digest has a full year of signals, but clearly I've learned how to time the markets, and I'd like to teach you how to do that as well. Subscribers to Mastering Probability gain access to my live and archived workshops where I show you the exact same patterns that earn me this #1 ranking. If you're looking for great market calls and an education, sign up for Mastering Probability today at TFNN.com.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Continue this conversation, Nico. We were just discussing the toxicity of fluoride and how it affects the seed of the soul. But let's talk about when antibiotics turn toxic. And wouldn't you know, antibiotics turn toxic when they're based on fluoride, fluoroquinones. Let me give you a little scenario, because this is really near and dear to my heart, because that's really what got me into natural healing, was my poisoning by this class of drugs, also known as the fluoroquinones, Cipro, not levothyroxine, but Levaquin. Levaquin is another brand. Cipro, Levaquin. Okay, here's an example. In 2014, Miriam Van Stafferen went on holiday to the Canary Islands and caught an infection. Her ear and sinuses throbbed, so she went to see a resort doctor who prescribed a 6-day course of the popular antibiotic levofloxacin. 3 weeks later, after she's been better, after she returned home to Amsterdam, her Achilles tendons started to hurt. Then her knees and shoulders. She developed shooting pains in her legs and feet, as well as fatigue and depression. She got sicker and sicker. She was in pain all day. And she got to a point where she could barely walk upstairs. Since then, she has seen a variety of medical specialists. Nobody connected the dots. She dismissed her symptoms as psychosomatic. They called her, oh, you have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. Folks, there are so many people that are being poisoned by these fluoride-based drugs that deplete the body of its store of magnesium and result in tendon joint damage. And it often happens, a month, 2 months later, and people are not connecting the dots to their course of antibiotics.
Yeah. For decades, regulatory agency in the medical profession were skeptical that a brief course of these antibiotics could have such a devastating long-term impact. But after persistent campaigning by patient groups, attitudes began to change in 2008, where the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced the first of what would be a series of strong alerts on the side effects of these drugs. Now, they put the alerts down, but they don't take the drugs away.
It's a black box warning, folks. When your doctor prescribes a fluoroquinolone, do you hear that name? Fluoroquinolone, fluoride-based antibiotic. I'm going to give you a warning, a tip here. Tell your doctor if for any reason you take an antibiotic, maybe you want to go to GreenMed Info and learn what's a natural antibiotic that you can take. But if your doctor chooses to prescribe one, request that there's no fluoride-based because they create damage and there's black box warnings. We have a epidemic of over-prescribed antibiotics today, and there's a dark side of these fluoroquinolones. And these quinolone antibiotics, they were developed in the 60s, kill bacteria by blocking an enzyme class, okay? But these also deplete, as I mentioned, many of our nutritional substances. And many of these nutritional substances, such as magnesium, are important to maintain our health.
Yeah, and they're really toxic. They really do damage to our mitochondria. So this is a thing that you really want to watch out for and do some research on it for yourself so you know exactly what you're talking about when you're talking to the physician. If he's going to prescribe this, you want something else.
So the mitochondrial damage, and which is what Nico and I are here sharing with you, how do we enhance our mitochondrial health? Because it's the mitochondria that is actually the energy system of our body. It's where all of our energy and ATP is made. So there's been studies now of how these drugs poison our mitochondrial system. And I want us all to start to stand up and say that we're not interested in continuing this kind of damage to our bodies. The potential for mitochondrial damage still is not widely appreciated among antibiotic researchers and the medical community.
Yeah, now this patient who was in Amsterdam complains that despite her medical training, she still can't find a doctor who believes her. So trying to get rid of this stuff out of your body could be a problem too once it's in there, and then if nobody believes you, you're really cut up, and now they're prescribing different things for maybe because they think you have something else. So it's not a good thing for sure.
The lack of support for doctors, and I myself had a situation where a doctor wanted to prescribe this class to me, and they're putting these kids on Cipro for ear infections.
Yeah.
Guys, stay away from that class.
Okay, that's it today. Thanks a lot.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.